Hey, School Zone audience. Matt coming at you from sunny Stephenville, Texas. I call it EIEIO out here in the middle of nowhere. Excited today to have none other than Mr. Mike Zakany of Jose Madrid Salsa on the line. Mike, I've got to be honest with you. I've talked to a lot of unique companies in the school fundraising space over the last couple of years, and nobody does what you guys do. So I'm really, really excited to have you enter the School Zone this evening and to share a little bit about what you guys do and how you can help schools make money. So tell us a little bit about you personally and how you got started in the salsa business.
Well, let's start off this way. My mother was from Clovis, New Mexico, and my father was from Ohio. Hence, that's why I live in Ohio now. But when I was a little kid, I used to go out to New Mexico sometimes for the whole summer and stay with my cousins that lived in Texas and New Mexico. I got a big hankering. We've come from a food family. I grew up, with Hungarian grandparents, and they owned a grocery store. So when I was a little boy, starting at 8 years old, I started working at the grocery store all the way from checkout all the way to cutting meat, and eventually going to college. And I got a 4-year degree at Ohio University in Athens, Ohio. That's not the big O, that's the better O. And everybody in my family's been in the food business. So eventually, after I got out of school, I started a Mexican restaurant in Zanesville with my older brother, Al, and it's been in business for 40 years now. So in the 13th year of the restaurant business, I started the salsa business down in the basement of the restaurant, and we were the first gourmet kosher salsa company in the United States, and we got written up by the New York Times and a lot of big newspapers all the way to San Francisco to Philadelphia. And I really have been in food all my life, and I've come from 2 generations of entrepreneurs, so it's really been pretty easy and been pretty much of a clear path. But about 17 years ago, when we were 17 years old, the company, Jose Madrid Salsa, I just got a hankering for turning everything and going into the fundraising business. I was in fine stores and gourmet stores all over the United States and Canada. The first place I was ever popular was Toronto, Canada. And, we won our awards there in 1998, having the best salsa in Canada. And then we used to come to New Mexico and Texas and get in the salsa shootouts, and we'd always win in the salsa shootouts in 2004 at the Fort Worth Stockyards. We had Best Verde salsa. We had Best Fruit salsa and Chipotle. And then in 1992, we won at the Pyramid in Albuquerque, New Mexico, at a salsa shootout there. So, I decided that was good enough, and, we've got enough validication, but I wanted to be the first salsa company that goes nationwide and fundraises to schools. I don't have the big burning desire to go into supermarkets or, big gourmet stores and so on and so forth. I get a real thrill when a small club or a large school gets 50% profit from my salsa. They actually usually sell them for $6 a jar, and they keep $3, and we have free shipping all over the United States. Last year, my biggest fundraiser was in a middle school in Austin, Texas. So they buy salsa in Texas from us guys in Ohio, but we have our roots in the New Mexico, and that's where some of the finest chili peppers in the world are grown. So we do use 14 different chili peppers in our salsa.
You mentioned that. I was actually in Albuquerque this morning. Was out there for a funeral yesterday and flew in today. I brought some Hatch chilies and some other chilies back with me, and they're in the fridge right now. So I can totally relate to that part of the country. I spent actually a number of years in Lubbock, Texas, just up the road from where
Clovis.
you were in Clovis.
Yeah.
So
Well, I had one side of my first cousins lived in Albuquerque, and there were 10 in the one family, and we used to always go to Clovis and Albuquerque, and of course we'd make our trip down to Juarez and El Paso, Texas. But when I was a little kid, we would always go to uh, the Mexican town there that was Old Town Albuquerque.
Right.
And, you know, we would always come home with all kinds of goodies. Plus, we would come home with green chilies and stuff. My mother was from New Mexico, and she had to have her green chilies everywhere. So sometimes they would ship them to us. But, you know, when we go out there, we surely would bring back a large amount of them. So, yeah, I've as a kid, I've experienced that culture. And when I graduated from college, I kind of wanted to do something that had something to do with my Mexican heritage. And so I started a restaurant with my brother. And like 13, 14 years later, I started the salsa business.
So are any of your original recipes, you know, family type recipes, or have you kind of developed everything from the ground up, or give us a little bit more history there?
Well, no. Well, yes. When we started our Mexican restaurant, we had our mother, Estelle. She's the patriarch of our family, and now she's 89 years old. She helped us with some of the base recipes. Now, as we all know, the New Mexico style cooking is a little bit different than some of the other Southwest cooking and Mexican cooking. We always used cumino in our salsa, and that was particularly from New Mexico, actually. You know, the New Mexico was considered New Spain, and my grandfather, Jose Madrid, was actually one generation away from Spain. And but he settled into New Mexico, and he had a big garden. He grew up peppers, and every time I would go out there, we would have just tons of fruits and vegetables and peppers from his garden. And you know, everybody in New Mexico has learned to eat chili peppers, whether they are Spanish, Mexican, or any other nationality, quite frankly. Yes, I was always excited to do something with my cousins and so on and so forth. So that was one of the big impetus. You know, I saw the grocery industry from my grandparents in Ohio. You know, I've got a marketing degree in college, and then when I got out of college, I started a Mexican restaurant, and I saw that that's not where I wanted in one restaurant in a small town. So the first place I was ever popular was 500 miles away in Canada.
So Mike,
Fundraising.
What was it that made you decide to jump off into the fundraising space? And how did you kind of start that whole process here 10 years ago now?
Well, it was really trial and error and learning by each mistake that we made in the beginning. But, you know, I was in some of the finest, the salsa was in some of the finest gourmet stores in the United States and Canada. And after a while, that just didn't thrill me anymore. And I think the biggest thrill that I get now is to see happy people. I mean, we had like a cross country team that raised $2,000 for them in 2000 that went to us that we split. And, you know, they were just ecstatic, you know, paid for all their sports for a whole year. You know, there's a lot of girls teams that are not funded by their school or whatever, yet we can, like we get a lot of girls basketball teams that go to the boys basketball teams and sell salsa and fund their sport that way. So that was the real main impetus that, in other words, that's exciting to me. That's what, as you get older and you go down the pike for 40, 50, 60 years, those are the things that are more exciting to you than the things that were exciting to you 30 years ago. So basically, it's thrilling.
So it seems to me that right now, this is a great fit in today's school fundraising space because of the healthy benefits of your product versus some of the other stuff out there that's not as healthy. Speak to that a little bit.
Yes, I would say so. Salsa is basically fruits, vegetables, and spices. In a particular salsa, we don't use any refined sugar. There's a little bit of honey in 7 of the 25, and they are the fruit salsas like peach, raspberry, pineapple, cherry, and so on and so forth. But the first place I've become successful is in a lot of sports teams, and a lot of parents, they spend so much money on travel sports and so on and so forth. They want their kids to eat healthy. So salsa fundraising fits in with the health aspect and the good habits that go on, and it's different and it's fun and it's exciting. We have words like peach, Jamaican jerk, strawberry, raspberry barbecue, uh, cherry chocolate, Michigan cherry, verdes, hot verde, a stupid hot verde. So, Evan, we send free samples out that people can taste. All they have to do is email us at Mike at Jose Madrid Salsa, tell us about their group, and we send them samples. So we go on the proof of the pudding. We think that if we send samples to somebody, they're going to like our salsa more than likely, and they'll find a way eventually to learn how to fundraise with us. So we're a very healthy salsa, and I got to say the whole classification, honestly, pretty much for the most part of all salsas are healthy. I would like to see actually more salsa companies fundraise, to be quite honest, because I'm one of the few ones in the United States that do this. I'm sure that no other company has 25 salsas to fundraise with, even though you don't have to fundraise with 25. We have an option 16 and option 9. I immediately thought that everybody would love to have all those things, but we get a lot of volunteers that mix the cases in the gymnasium and so on and so forth. And sometimes 16 is enough. But yes, it is a healthy snack food. It is the healthiest snack food. And mothers know that. It's all over the press. Everybody knows that. And everybody would like to have their kids to eat fruits and vegetables and spices.
So what's the process? What type of materials do you guys provide to the school? How do they more specifically partner with you guys? How long does a typical fundraiser last? That type of thing.
Oh, okay, I'll get into that aspect of it. Well, first of all, we've been selling on the website for 20 years now, and the website is josemadridsalsa.com. And now for 2 years, in this past September, 2 years and a month, we added a new fun website, and it was josemadridsalsafundraising.com. Now, in that site, it has a lot of information. It has a lot of the salsa. And right now we're tearing it down and reloading everything with a lot more information on the page. And what the process is, there's an area where you can go in, and we have like Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C. So in Plan A is the most popular. That's the where it's like Girl Scout cookies, where you get a form, and you can go in, and it says in the website, it says if you want to get the forms, punch this button here. So you'll put in your website, and immediately the forms will bounce back to you. The forms like Girl Scout cookie forms, where you can choose 25 salsa, or whether you can choose the 16 or the 9. And that's option A. And also we have information on how to fundraise. And we also have a staff that when you call in, if you have any questions, you're welcome to call us at 740 521 4304. And if we don't answer it, we usually answer it within 24 hours. A lot of times we're out of town on the weekend. But anyway, you get the forms, you put in your email, you bounce back the forms to you, and you can print up as many as you want. If there's, if you need 500, you can print up 500. A lot of times there's been schools that's called us, and they've asked us to help us to send them the forms, and we've sent them, a couple hundred flyers, to them. We're really easy to get along with. We want to make it easy for you, and we want to make it simple for you. It's a real cut and dried sell the salsa for $6 a jar and keep 3, and that includes shipping once we get over 96 jars, and that's 8 cases, and we primarily usually always do that. Now, if you had something less, there are no minimums. Let's just say you had 73 jars and it was in California or something like that. Yeah, we might charge you $30 for shipping or something like that. But we guarantee that after 96 jars, nowhere in the United States is there shipping. So a lot of times people will get the money, they'll collect the money, and we have another form that is the master form that says all of the total jars. So you might have 68 jars of raspberry, 93 jars of peach, 20 jars of strawberry. We have cilantro, mild cilantro, hot, and black bean and corn that are quite popular on the fundraising. So we go down to the bottom of the form, and the form automatically adds up how many jars, and you can email that back to us, and we start working on the order when we get the email. Now, what happens is you can either send us a check or you can charge it online, either one. But as soon as we get the check or the charge, we've been averaging getting the product out in about 5 to 7 days from that point. Most of the time in the United States, it takes 2 days in UPS shipping and so on and so forth. So that is basically how it works. We're there for a bank of information and ideas. We can answer any question at that number. All that information is on the website, Jose Madrid Salsa Fundraising.com. And like I said, we're happy to help in any way, but a lot of it is self-explanatory on the website also. So we get the money, we ship it to you within 7 to 10 days, and you usually get it before 10 days after we receive the money.
So do most people do single jar orders, Mike, or do you have like gift packs, or how does that work?
Yes, we can work out a deal. We have a 3-pack and we have a 5-pack. I do have to say, a lot of people, we've had sports teams. I said we had 3 plans. Plan A is probably 80%, and that's the one where, like Girl Scout cookies, they go out and pre-sell. Plan B is sample and sell. For example, that's the way that you pay for the salsa at $3 a jar, and you sell it for $6. And that's like if you want to get 10, 15, 20 cases to start out with and sell it at your church or at a school basketball game or something like that. That's plan B. And plan C was kind of directed towards a lot of the sports team, where everybody on the team bought a case. You can mix and match them any way you want. And what would happen is a lot of these teams and sports teams, they're raising money year round nowadays, and they would get them right before a case of salsa or 2 cases of salsa before Christmas and give them out as presents. But yes, we can make arrangements for just $1 more to have all your product. If you bought a 3 or you bought a 5-pack, we use these same boxes to ship to for the last 14 years all over the United States. And that's really in our mail order department. But we've started to do this in fundraising also, if you want to give a fundraising gift for a Christmas present or so.
So is there a best time? Is there a best time of year for folks, or are you guys doing this literally all year round?
Oh no, we do this 12 months out of the year. We have a promotion throughout the year, and it's amazing. I love to fundraise with schools. We've done a lot of schools and middle schools and high schools and so on and so forth. There's always a reason. There's always a lot of small groups in them. Maybe the senior class is raising money for a trip to Washington, D.C., or maybe the senior class is going to raise money for a new sign or something like that. And quite often we have a whole lot of bands, marching bands, in fundraising mode all the time, all year long, because nowadays they're actually raising money year round to do this. So we do this 12 months out of the year. And, we do have seasons that are a little bit busier, actually, for us, and I don't know why. But coming up in late October, November, we get a ton of fundraising. Now we do a lot of fundraising with churches. Super Bowl fundraising, the number one salsa consumption day in the United States is the Super Bowl. So we sent out a bunch of emails, and we have several churches that do a fun fundraiser Super Bowl, and they only work for maybe an hour and a half after their church service. And of course, the Super Bowls don't usually start until 4 or 7 o'clock at night, depending on what part of the United States you're at. And they just have a fun time before the Super Bowl and make them a lot of money in the meantime. So it's 12 months out of the year, to be honest with you.
So, are there any other important things that you want to pass on to the schools, the volunteers who may be listening, who are looking for something new and maybe didn't even know you guys were out there?
Well, I'm sure there's just millions of people that don't know we're out there. And, we're using every method like this podcast to get the word out from us right now. But as far as I'm aware of, and I traveled to about 6 or 7 or 8 states, I think we're the only salsa fundraising company out there with 25 different choices. We have 9 mild, we have 7 medium, and 11 hot. So that does not put you, up against the wall to buy something really hot. A lot of people say, well, salsa's hot. That's not actually true. I would say 2/3 of our sales of our salsa are between the mild and the medium, and I would say 1/3 of our sales is in the hot realm. So I think that's important. I think everybody is accepting and liking salsa all over the United States. I think it's exciting. I think we have some fun names for our salsa, and I think that we work diligently to make you happy. A lot of times there'll be some kind of miscommunication on some of the paperwork, and maybe some shortage comes up. Maybe something happens where they have 15, 20 too many of this jar and 15, 20 not enough of this jar. We always take care of those things within 24 hours and take care of those problems. And we don't care whose fault it was or whose fault it is. We just take care of it because our idea is we're trying to build a business for the future, and we're not concerned about, what happens in the next 5-10 minutes. We want to be there for people for a long time, and that's the way we've always approached the business, and we've been in business for 28 and a half years. So we take a great amount of care in answering questions, in talking to our people, and to solving any kind of problem that comes down the road. We're never too busy to solve any kind of problem. So I think that's the most important thing in customer service in this area. Obviously, if something gets broke, it very seldom happens. We've been packaging products on the internet for 20 years, but sometimes things get broke. We'll take care of it within 24 hours. So that's, I think, some of the most key things that the people that run the fundraisers are, wanting to know about a group of people that they're going to be dealing with. We take customer service quite seriously.
What are the 2 flavors that are your top sellers?
Well, I'd say the top 5 fundraising salsas are the original mild that we started the company with 28 and a half years ago. The black bean and corn, the cilantro mild. Where that came from, I don't know, but the cilantro mild is just blitzing the whole company. We have a pineapple habanero that's really popular in the hot area, and we have a regular hot that's popular, and the pineapple and the peach are also popular, but the con queso is one of the top 5. So you have a choice. We have a salsa with cheese, con queso. It's a chipotle, and it's in the top 5 too. So obviously there's a whole lot more after that, and we have all the way to our craziest salsa called the Stupid Hot. It's XX. Now that has habaneros, Savina habaneros. We throw a little scorpions in there just to make it just a little bit nicer for people, and so they don't. There's not the quantities of like the first five that I said, like the black bean. We have a roasted garlic and olive, and that's one of the big ones too. I forgot to say that, but we're famous for our raspberry salsas here in this part of the United States. We sell a lot of raspberry chipotle, and we sell a lot of raspberry. But quite frankly, on the fundraisers, it's that original mild. It's the black bean and corn. It's the and these are kind of the conservative ones. It's the black bean and corn, the cilantro, the pineapple habanero, and the con queso. Those would probably be the top five picks. Of course, like I said, we have a lot of hots, mediums, and everything else.
So, Mike, once again, if people want to reach out to you, what's the email? What's the phone number? What's the website?
Yes. Now, the website to get fundraising information from us is www.josemadridsalsafundraising.com. That's the 2-year-old site, and we're building it and changing it every day. Now, the site where we have been selling online for 20 years is josemadridsalsa.com. And our telephone number is on our website. Both websites, josemadridsalsa.com and also josemadridsalsafundraising.com, is 740-521-4304. And if we don't answer the phone immediately, we will get back with you in 24 hours, and all that information goes to our cell phone. So we field a lot of calls, quite often, late at night, early in the morning, any time of the day. So those are the best ways. Mike at Jose Madrid Salsa is where you go to if you want to request samples. So all we need is just a little bit of information about you, what school or what organization you're from, about how many kids, and that determines how many jars of salsa we send to you. So that's the best way to get a hold of us, is email and the website.
Awesome. Mike, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us on the School Zone. I know the audience is going to be really, really excited to hear this episode. And the opportunity to be exposed to or to provide a fundraiser that is very, very unique for most of them, in a completely different space. So appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be here in the School Zone, and best of luck to you, man.
All right. Thank you for this opportunity. And hey, we love you all out there, and just give us a chance and we'll prove our worthiness to you.